What up, party people? It's your boy Rodney Perry, and I cannot wait to talk to my guest today. This dude is an actor. He's a comedian. He's a producer, a director. He literally wears every hat you could possibly wear in the world. He got 50 hats put on his head. He is the man, the myth, the legend himself. I saw this guy on Def Jam, and he completely floored me many moons ago, and he's here right now, Royale Watkins. What's up, brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my friend Rodney Perry, and we back. And we back. You like 5 quick questions. You need a theme song, Rod.
I need a song. You know, who told me years ago, like, you always walk around and you got some type of music in your head. Kevin told me that, like Rodney Perry.
Yeah. You need a 5 quick questions theme song.
You know what? It's in the works. Consider it done. Hey, so
wait, you forgot to do with my other hats. You forgot writer. You didn't even say writer. I'm on a show writing right now.
I didn't say writer.
You didn't say dad. You didn't say side chick advocate. Stop
right there.
I be talking to these hoes. That's it.
Wait. You are not a side chick advocate.
No, like if it's a side chick that's out here struggling, like I will have a conversation with them. But then after that, I'm done.
Hey,
so
you know what? I might be advocating, but I didn't know that's what it took.
Sometimes you got to negotiate some of these relationships with the wife, so I have to advocate on behalf of what I want.
Right.
But then it don't go too well. So that's why I say I've only reached advocate status.
I tell my wife, I said, look, you're not gonna do this.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do this. So
you know what? Now let me stop before I let me stop before I put something out there that's not true. And while I'm in a good space right now in that regard, I want to stay in a good space. So let me take that energy back and just stick with dad, writer, and all of those accolades and hats.
And a great husband.
Oh no, I'm solid in that space. So
let me ask you this, because I've had to learn this. We've been married probably around the same amount of time. We just celebrated 25. You guys are 28 plus.
We got 23 and been together 28 total.
Got it. How long did it take for you to become a good husband?
Let's see. How long did it take for me? I was a horrible boy. I was a great horrible boyfriend.
Okay.
I was a great horrible boyfriend.
You was great because you made it to husband.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I had to grow up. So April's 5 years. My wife, April's 5 years older than I am. So she had to allow me to grow into the person, the husband that I am today.
Right.
And but how long did it take me? I would say probably about how long I've been married? Like 22 years.
Wait, you just figured it out?
Yeah, and still teetering.
Nigga, why are you bullshitting? Nigga, I just figured it out.
Listen, man.
I'm a great husband right now.
So here's the thing that I say. I'm the world's greatest dad. It's good. It's hard to compete against me in the dad category. And I have to be super dad just to offset where I come up short in the husband category, just so that if things ever go a certain kind of way, the kid's gonna be like, nah, you gotta get my man back here.
My dad is cold.
Listen,
now, your husband is suspect, but my dad.
Listen, we need if anything ever, God forbid, it ain't gonna, me and April are solid, but still, if it went a certain kind of way, I know all 3 sons would be like, I don't know what you talking about, but you gotta get Superman back here. We need him on the team.
This guy is incredible.
Yes. Whatever y'all going through, we ain't gonna go through it with y'all. We need him back.
Wow, that's so funny, but so true. I get it. I get that 1,000%, dude.
Yeah.
I get that 1,000%. Okay, that's question number 1. It's 5 quick questions. My guest for today is Mr. Royale Watkins. Let's talk to Royale the writer, man. What do you love about writing? Because I know you love writing.
Well, I do. I really enjoy writing because the basis of great stand-up comedy is word manipulation, context manipulation, and wordplay. Right? You and I punchline guys, we understand. Right? Performance is great, but performance on the foundation of solid words that take the patrons or the consumer on a word journey just elevates everything. So for me, everything goes back to how you use words to paint pictures,
Okay.
right? And to paint pictures that become vivid stories, that you can stand on. And I mean, literally stand on stage, off stage. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to write through a couple of different mediums, like in television right now. I've knocked out a couple of feature drafts, sold a feature, and for stand up. And so when you write through those different mediums, you start to gain a clarity about how word structure and all of that stuff is used differently in the different mediums. But ultimately, you have to learn how to manipulate and control. It's like driving a car, right? There's a lot of different moving pieces on the car, and if the more you understand them, the stronger you are a driver, which ultimately helps you get to a new place in life. For me, I'm trying to get somewhere using these words and these stories to for the words to be the vehicle to help me ultimately get to a different place in life.
Yes, sir. So, man, you bring up so much when you bring up that school of thought, because I never really thought about writing as a means of kind of learning about yourself. You know, whether it's writing a feature or writing stand up, each medium kind of gives you some sort of knowledge about self. So, as you pour yourself, my question is, do you relish in manipulating the mind? Because I think as comedians, we're always constantly manipulating the human brain, you know. And I tell comics all the time, be careful when you are redundant, or if you uh, uh, say something in one sentence and contradict it in another, because you activate the human brain. Now you got a guy thinking out there in the audience. So what's your rule as a stand-up comic in terms of your manipulation of the human brain?
Well, I mean, I think it gets when you talk about manipulating the human brain. This, to me, I hear that and I go on two. It's two kind of different things come to mind for me. It's like, what's the experience that you want the people in the seats to have, right? And how are they interpreting what you're putting out, right? But also for yourself, right? How are you allowing your own thoughts to kind of affect what you're saying in the written context, and then from the written to the verbal? And so a lot of times what I'm learning after so many years of writing is like you have to be able to learn to do a kind of literary yoga, so to speak. You have to be able to learn how to not just stretch the words, but stretch your imagination to allow you to get to a place where you're understanding about the strength of a word, what a word can represent, and what a word can represent in context to other pieces of story that you either started with or haven't gotten to yet.
Got it.
So, you know, we could take some kind of there's a kind of like, it's just okay. So if you're driving across the country, you have a map of where you want to go, you have an idea, you can follow a map. And from the ground's view, right, you see through the windshield, and maybe you can see like on, you know, you'll have a kind of you can't get a full 360, but you can get a 180 depending upon what kind of windshield you get. Yeah, you have a field of vision that may be a little broader. But if you're flying in a helicopter and you have a helicopter's view of things, it's a completely different understanding of the ground, context, what's in front of you, what's ahead.
Yeah, everything.
So what I'm saying is, when you start writing on a 3D level, will you allow yourself to think beyond just one word, two words, and how those words are connective in terms of the connective tissue, but to give yourself a global outlook on like what you're saying, to give you, so it's like when a lot of people like just came from New York, right? And there's so many people that don't travel outside their borough, so all they know is the borough they're from, right? They don't give themselves an opportunity to go not just out like into another borough, but out of the city, out of the state, out of the country. And the more you travel, the more you're aware of, the more you see, the more you experience, the bigger your life becomes. And so the bigger your life becomes, the bigger your vocabulary becomes. The more you read, the more you expand yourself. And so again, all of this to me goes back to you have to be able to open up your complete world, open up your complete self so that your writing expands along with those things and you become a bigger human being. Everything for me is about becoming a bigger human being, pouring honesty, vulnerability, and all of these kind of bigger concepts into what ultimately becomes, your pen game.
Wow, man. Only you could break that down that way, man. Take me back to 1997, Built to Last.
Oh, wow.
Lasted 8 episodes. This was your vehicle. You was gone in all our eyes.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So what happened was so that was 1997. And
we there. I'm listening.
Okay, yeah.
I was giving you the full screen shit.
Oh, no, I didn't know. I was like, oh, wait, what happened here? No, so that was in 97. I think what a lot of people don't know, people don't know this, but in July, let me give you the whole story.
Okay.
July the 4th of 1996, I was in New Jersey, and I got a very alarming phone call, and the phone call was from my dad, and his words were very clear to me. I was like probably 2 a.m. or something like that, and he's like, picked up the phone, I got the phone or whatever, and he said, Royale, come home, somebody killed Rome, which was my second to the youngest brother at the time. So my brother had been at an event, a party or whatever. He was working production for some band. Some kids shot up the place or whatever, and just randomly, my brother was hit and didn't make it. So that was July the 4th of 1996. July the 18th, 2 weeks later, I had to be in Montreal at the Montreal Comedy Festival performing. July the 18th, I went up there and performed. Immediately got a deal.
This is all post Def Jam.
That's all post Def Jam.
Okay.
So Def Jam was 94. Def Jam was 93, 94.
Okay.
96 is Montreal. That's July the 4th. 2 weeks later, I'm in Montreal. So had to bury my brother a week later. A week after that, I'm in Montreal performing. Immediately, like, I'm the toast of Montreal. I get a deal immediately. NBC, Warner Brothers, like, this is our next guy. And everything is moving so fast that I literally have no time to mourn the loss of my brother because everything is moving so fast. So we go from deal to pilot to series, and internally, I'm the same guy that had been to Iraq on the ground, in Kuwait on the ground as a United States Marine, seen combat, carried bodies, but everything. So I'm internally conflicted because there's a part of me that wants to go home to DC and try to rectify this issue that is a real problem for me, meaning the loss of my brother. But there's also the part of me that is a part of this business that the universe is putting me in an opportunity, a situation that is going to give me an opportunity to change not just my entire life, but the life of my family members, right? You know what I mean? This is NBC.
Absolutely.
So the entire way that we're making this television show, like, I am on camera in one instance trying to be a professional, and then in another instance in the green room trying to mourn the loss of my brother. So this whole experience, I didn't get an opportunity to pour my entire self, the healthiest version of myself, into what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And, that's the part that people don't know.
Wow, man. I had no idea.
Yeah, people don't know that. I mean,
and dude, first of all, thank you for sharing. I may have to change the show because I got 100 questions now. Wow. I just got you are already one of the strongest guys I know, right? And to hear what you were going through at that moment, how do you keep consistently picking yourself up and moving on? How do you continue, man? And some people don't continue, Royale. Like
No.
people don't go, people don't keep going, and you keep going, man. Why?
Well, let me say this before I answer that question. If anybody's watching this, if any comics are watching this, during that period, if I was ever standoffish with you or if I came off as arrogant, I know a lot of people misunderstood me around that time. And so I want to extend some clarity to you that I'm not arrogant. You know what I mean? I was just going through something that you didn't understand because it wasn't being shared. So, and I know that there's comics that looked at me at the time like, oh, he thinks he's this, he thinks he's that, blah, 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 without knowing what I was going through. Right. And so I'm sure they misinterpreted or misunderstood it, but I was just going through something very painful at the time. Absolutely. So to those comics that may not have understood me, and it's comics that I know that, have had an issue with me, and it's just he's standoffish, he did blah. But, again, when you don't know what somebody is going through,
you have no idea.
And it's dangerous to make an assumption about, or create a narrative that fits whatever your own personal judgment of them is. So to answer your question, I honestly think, man, it's in some people's DNA to fold. Some people just don't have it in their DNA.
Ooh, that's big boy talk right there.
I mean, listen, I watch my dad, who, I'm one of 14 kids. There's 14 of us. I watched a man get up every day, put on pants, drink a cup of coffee, and go out and face the universe and all of the monsters and his own personal demons, to drag back something from the jungle so we can eat. Yeah. I mean, and literally, I just believe that as a man, when you make a decision to start a family, I think that when you, it's interesting because I'm writing on this show, A Million Little Things, and we have professionals that come in. And we had a gentleman, a doctor, who came on the show, and we were talking about fertility and this and right. And he said that when you make the decision with another human being to bring a child into a world, there's an unwritten contract that you make with that child to care for them and take care of them. Right. And so for me, with my wife, April, we have a contract, and I have children that count on me every day to get up, to provide for them and ensure that they are going to be taken care of. Yeah. And I'm going to honor that. And not only that, but I'm going to honor the gift of being present in this universe as a human being. And so the strongest, I have 3 sons, right? I have to be an example to them of what a man is supposed to be. Yeah. And before you can be a man to anybody else in the universe, you have to be a man to yourself.
Yes, sir.
You got to be a man to yourself first. I can wake up every day, look myself in the mirror, and know that I'm solid with myself first. I'm solid with myself. I can't be solid with anybody else until I'm solid with me first. And it's a journey. It's a journey of healing. It's a journey of rectifying. Like, I talked about a lot of stuff now. What I'm learning to do is be more open and honest on stage. You bring that vulnerability, you bring that honesty, you bring your whole true self to the stage. And it may not always result in a laugh. For some people, if that's what you need, great. But what I found is when you open your whole human self up and extend it to people, you connect with people on a level that's bigger than laughter. That's bigger than laugh. Laugh is a end result of something that is product focus, right? Mm-hmm. But when you make a life connection, when people connect with you in a heart, they're gonna come back to see you whenever you show up.
Yes, sir.
They're gonna look for you. They're not you. It's bigger than advertisement. They're gonna care about you.
Wow, connecting on a deeper level. Last question. This is 5 quick questions. When will we see the Royale Watkins comedy special, and who will direct?
Pretty sneaky, sis. It's really interesting. It's a good question, first and foremost. It's something that I struggle with, especially as I start to watch my peers. David Arnold, I'm very inspired by him. You know, Fat Ballerina is just an excellent piece of work. Obviously, you know, Chappelle and I go back a long, long way, and he's just kind of elevated all of this. Kevin and I are very close, obviously, and I work with him closely. Shot projects, Plastic Cup Boys Over My Head, and Lil Rel's special is right there that I co-directed. But to answer your question, I'm hopeful that within the next year that I'm preparing myself as a producer and director. I've kind of laid the foundation and start to build all of the right relationships so that I can position myself to be the next guy that I shoot something for. Okay. So I'm hoping that to like within the next year will be great. The challenge for me is writing on a network television show eats up so much of my bandwidth that I don't have an opportunity to go out and tour, to work. Like I have material that's like, oh my God, this is great. It's going to be so much fun. But if I don't get the opportunity to stretch it, work it, you know what I mean, and piece it all together, then it's not going to be enjoyable for me. So when I find the time to have that stretch that I need, that run of 3, 4, 5 months to get all of the material just right so it's cooking, then I'll go, I'm ready to shoot. Who will shoot it? I'm not exactly sure. My producing and directing partner, Rich Schlancer, who taught me to direct, I've stood on and continue to stand on his shoes at the dance. You know, it's hard for me to believe that he won't be involved, and we'll probably co-direct it because we co-direct everything together.
Got it.
Unless Ross, my son, wants to direct it, then I gotta let him get his first credit.
Dude, if Ross directs it, yo, you talk about being the best dad in the world. Yo, I cannot thank you enough, Royale Watkins. How do people find you, man? How do they find you on social and all that good stuff?
At Royale Watkins on everything. At Royale Watkins on everything. At Royale Watkins.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on. Say hi to the family for me. And you and April on that Instagram is something to behold.
Hey, man, listen, if people also want to follow the relationship stuff, they should follow at After I Do on social media, at After I Do, and then they can get a real peek inside, a peek behind the curtain of chaos that is my marriage. The curtain of chaos. That's what I'm gonna call it. The curtain of chaos.
Curtain of chaos. I love it. Hey, man. Hey, again, man. Thank you so much for coming on,
Rodney Bro. I love you, brother. Thank you so much.
Love. I love you back, man. Royale Watkins, man. Thank you, brother. Wow. Let me put my little thing in. Okay, there you go.